Hey, if I didn't put an intro, oh well, we're gonna make it brief right now if I did. The video is very simple. I'm ranking every Silent Hill game, mainline, see how good they are in my personal opinion. My three main criteria is simple: the gameplay, story, music. I feel like that's the three biggest things when it comes to Silent Hill games. There's other factors to it, but I feel like you can just make those three as the umbrella for other side categories. Enough rattling, let's get straight into the video. Off rip, right, we're gonna do them in order. And Silent Hill 1, after everything I just told you in the beginning of the intro, yeah, it's a nice starter for into the series. It's hard to recommend because if you don't own a PS1 and an already hard game, I do, not to flex on y'all, but I own it. Not everybody has that privilege to, and it sucks. But with all the hardware stuff out the way, gameplay-wise, it's a really good game. It's horribly old in today's standards, but at the time, I got to play it because my cousin owned it. It was pretty fun. It was pretty cool. It was a cool little game. Definitely out there, because, you know, with Silent Hill's competitor at the time, Resident Evil, it was very different from that. That was more like, yeah, I'm an action hero, and there's all this spooky shit going on. But this one felt like, oh, I gotta lock in or I'm dead. I think that's the charm for Silent Hill, at least for me. That was a big charm of it, where it was, this is a real survival horror game. And then you add the fact that the thematics of the game, where you are just a man trying to save your daughter, and then your daughter's used as a sacrifice, some weird cult going on. It's just downright perfection with the story. I don't want to say too much. On the off chance the next remake they announce is Silent Hill original, I'ma shut up. But hey, the game's been out for like 20 plus years, so whatever. I think it's going on. But musically speaking, right? Musically speaking, it's hard to say it's the best Silent Hill game out there in terms of music, because that's where it starts, right? It's really weird to try to rank it as the best game, because every game up to a point will get there. Every Silent Hill game just build upon the last, making it better and better. So it's really weird to say it's peak Silent Hill music or just horror music in general. That being said, the whole series as a whole, music alone, is all top notch. You can't go wrong with Silent Hill music. It's amazing. It's up there with Persona, Sega, Sonic, godlike music. It's just, oh my goodness. And again, as mentioned with the story and the gameplay, it's a little dated, it's a little old, but it's really good. I can't comfortably say it's A tier simply because it is a little bullshit to get the perfect ending. You do a lot of things that you didn't really know to do or how to do. A lot of people kill, what's the cop's name? Shovel? A lot of people kill her by accident. People don't get the suitcase. People don't know to keep it or not. And it's just a lot of stuff. It's real easy to mess that game up. It don't feel right to say A. I feel like a respectable spot for it's like B tier. So if you don't like it B, just remember it's like a really, really high B. It's 1 point off of being an A tier. That's just my opinion. Now for the second game in the series, Silent Hill 2, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to content farm. I'm being 100% genuine. Silent Hill 2, to this day, the original, is unironically the best horror game I've personally ever played. I played a lot of horror games out there. I know I'm very known for being a bitch in a lot of things that I'm easily spooked. But I do play them. I don't know why I do. I just do. It's easily the best Silent Hill game to date. It's one of the best. There's two more in there. Spoilers. I guess the best way to sum it up is the story is I can go on and on and on and on and on about this game, but just to keep it brief so we keep it going. The story is perfection. You have a man battling grief, the loss of his wife. Then you find out the truth why. I don't want to spoil it because you have to play the remake. It's still the best twist ever. The music is perfection. I want to unironically say I've listened to every track on loop most of my life at some point. The favorites change, but I know one thing, I've had that soundtrack stuck in my head my whole life. It's so good. And the gameplay, you can turn off tank controls, so that's a huge buff for it aging slightly better. And then, as a remake, you don't have to worry about that. As you may notice at the bottom, the remake's not on here. Personally, the remake does change it a lot. Like it's not the same game, obviously, but I think what they add to it, just for the sake of an image, I would still put the Silent Hill remake at S tier, at the best, one of the better games. Silent Hill games. That being said, it's not the same level as original. That's not, you know, I'm gonna be honest, probably the biased nostalgia talking, but there's just a few directions I like more in the older one I do in the newer one. To give you an example, I like the implication that James might have had a problem with alcohol post Mary's death in the scene in the bar. Was Mary in the remake? I like that direction, like, oh, he was really going through it. I like it was a meme for a while, but I like the face James make when he's just audibly disgusted at Maria's actions. The big one is, all you care about is your dead wife. It just hard cuts to James' face, like, yeah, that's kind of the whole fucking point I'm here. But the campiness of the original, the music, the gameplay, the thematics, it's so good. And what makes that game even more incredible is the fact that it's completely, and I mean just completely, not at all a Silent Hill game, at least what it established in the first game. Because the first game, Silent Hill, was a cult game. And the cult's into, but that's taking the backseat to the game. It's completely in the background. And I really appreciate that. And again, this is my first game I played on my own-ish in the series. So there's a lot of bias to that, and I'm fully aware of that, but just, you can't deny the influence of this game. I'm pretty sure there's so many game directors said they were influenced or they played it growing up and it was one of their biggest influences. You don't speak on it, like God rest his soul. I'll put in David Lynch, that's his name, excuse me. Like when he passed, a lot of people came forward and said, I didn't realize that was him and his work, and I was like, oh, I do this because of them. And I feel the same way with Silent Hill, which is the irony because I'm pretty sure Silent Hill is inspired by him. Fun fact, I did not know this. Apparently David Lynch is the bartender in the Cleveland show, and that's really fucking funny. Now for the third game, as mentioned in the first part when I talked about Silent Hill 1, a big part of Silent Hill's charm in the first 4 games is they build from the last game. With the base game being the original, which, you know, it wasn't bad, it was cool. I could definitely see it getting a sequel. Perfection. And then you have that weird problems like, okay, how do you top Silent Hill 2? And your answer is Silent Hill 3. Oh my, Silent Hill 3 is probably the best sequel to anything, because technically, if you play the game, Silent Hill 3 isn't really the third game in terms of the story. We don't know the time place when this all takes part. It could be years after, or like 1 or 2 years after, but in sense of thematics, just for a visual representation, in terms of the story of Silent Hill, it goes 1 and 3, and 2 is like a weird offshoot game. And that's really cool that this is a direct sequel to the first one, because you play, as mentioned in the first game, you play the daughter of the protagonist of the first game. And there's a line that even says, when you read his journal, when a very pivotal moment happened in the game, again, trying really hard not to spoil it in case you want to play it somehow, he even remarks like, I'm the guy who beat Silent Hill. I can beat anything, which, you know, to stop my video essay mode and just talk like man to man, you know, viewer to viewer, if I survive Silent Hill, I'm talking the most shit ever. So I get why Harry Mason said what he said and acted the way he acted and treated Heather the way he did, because he loved Heather. That's his daughter, all intents and purposes. And her story is really good. The fear of sex because she's pregnant with God, pretty much, and it's horrifying. Fear of growing up, because the older you get, more responsibilities, and what's out there for you don't know. The fear of trusting those around you and all this other stuff. The fear of trusting your own thoughts. Because the best line in that game is when you talk to somebody and say like, yeah, I've handled myself so far. I've been killing all the monsters. I think his name is Vincent. Vincent just goes to Heather, goes, they look like monsters to you? This game is so good on the psych level. It's amazing. The scare, and also no offense to 2, because it's horrifying. I'm not gonna pretend like I wasn't scared playing it. There's proof on my channel I was very scared playing that game. But in 3's case, I think 3 is probably the scariest game I've ever played. Out of the series, not the ever played, but out of the series, I think 3 is probably the scariest, in my humble opinion. It's, oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. It has another banging soundtrack. It has a banging story, banging the thematic. It's just, oh my goodness. I'm trying really hard to be articulate, but it's hard when you're just fanboying over a game, you know what I mean? But yeah, 3's definitely 100% in S tier. We're gonna save you for later, homeboy. We're gonna save Homecoming for, let's put you here. Now for the 4th installment, this is where people like to say Silent Hill took a nosedive in terms of quality. I am a Silent Hill 4 defender. It's a good game. I can understand it's a little clunky in some areas. I can understand the story is a little contrived in some points. All in all, it's a fun experience. I would argue, personally, again, this is my personal list, I would say it's like a really low A tier or a super high B tier. But for the sake of diversity, I'm gonna put it A tier. Silent Hill 4 came out at an awkward time where that type of style of horror was taking a back seat, there's different generations who like different type of horror, and when you have new blood telling stuff what they think is scary or how to build atmospheres, you get a different sense of where it was going. Because I want to say Silent Hill 4 came out a year or two before RE5, because it's relatively it's not as old as people think it is. I think it was 04, 05. You know, with the power of the device in front of me, let's look that up. It came out in 04. So it was around the Saw era where things were getting grungier and dirtier and more violent and gory. Silent Hill can be all those things, but Silent Hill doesn't really shine that well in those things. And I know you're thinking, well, Silent Hill's very grungy and decay and repugnant looking designs, and that's true. But for 4, they cleaned it up, and it's not a bad thing. I liked how they did it. But the areas where it was dirty and grungy, oh, best believe it was rough. It was very rough playing that game. But this is where it kind of falls flat for me. The music was okay, but it's kind of eh. I do love, however, the callbacks in this game, because I think that's why Silent Hill 4 is an A tier for me. Because as a game by itself, I think it's high B. The reason why it's 1 tier above that is for the sole purpose, if you play the other games and really follow everything along, it's very rewarding how loose ends get tied up. Like James's dad is a superintendent at the building you stay in. And I think he regards the fact like, yeah, I haven't seen my son in a while. He went to Silent Hill and he just kind of never showed up, which implies that either James just fucked off for good or he died. And I really hope it's the first one. I don't want the suicidal endings to be canon in Silent Hill 2, because I don't think James deserves that, but hey, it's life, I guess. The serial killer / cult monster is the same guy mentioned in Silent Hill 2 again in the elevator puzzle. I can't think of his name, Walter Sullivan, I think. He is the main antagonist of this one. And there's little stuff sprinkled like that all over, and I really enjoyed that was for it. I really did. It's very rewarding to those who played Silent Hill all the way to that point. And it has my second favorite jump scare in the series, where you look through the peephole and there's the Robbie on the bed, and then you back out and look at it again and he's staring right at you. Yeah, I'm good on that. Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate you, gang. I'm really glad you did that to me. And I think 4 is a comfortable A. I know some Silent Hill purists, horror fans are gonna be like, you're gonna put 4 over the original. Look, the original is great. It just feels weird putting it higher than B because it was the first game. I'm very hypercritical on the first games of any series. Not because I think, oh, they're bad by default because they're older. I just think it's not fair to the newer games, and honestly, just critiquing anything to say it's the best thing ever, because that's, of course, you're gonna say that's the first one you played, which, you know, no bias because Silent Hill 2 is the first one I played, but like, come on, it's Silent Hill 2. Hey, so funny story, right? I uploaded this video on time, so if you see a community post saying it's gonna be uploaded on Thursday and it's Friday, well, long story short, it got fucking copyright claimed, so I'm very, very happy about that. I don't know what for. I had to cut out the entirety of Homecoming and Downpour, so that's really cool. So we're gonna make this section really, really short and really, really fast. What I think of Homecoming is short and simple. It is a garbage game fundamentally, but it had great potential. I could see where it was trying to do. That's why it's not in the garbage tier. It is C tier for effort. If it wasn't for the effort, yeah, it's garbage. And then Downpour, same thing. Only difference is the direction was horrible. It was bland, it sucked, it was mid. It's just a bad Silent Hill game, in my opinion. Cannot stress it enough. And that's that. Sorry for making this section, you know, short. It was really cool and thought out and provocative, but you know, Silent Hill just loved cursing me. Anyway, to the next game. Thank you for watching. Now for the next game, Origins. Now Origins in a weird spot for me. I would say it's like a really high C tier. It's one of those games like I'm not mad that it exists, but it's definitely one of those like I don't want to play this half the time. There's some cool moments to it. I don't remember much of it because I played it once like when I was like a teen, and even then that was years after that game came out. But it was just it's okay. I remember liking the music, and the story was whatever. It's showing you what really happened the day before all this kicked off before Silent Hill, Alessa's story and Brady. They really were hyping up Brady stocks in this game, and that kind of fell flat from Homecoming. And it was just kind of it's just whatever for me personally. I can play it. It's not offensive, but I can play it. I'm sorry this section's short, but just like Origins, nobody really talks about it much. And it's okay. It's just not my personal favorite. I'm gonna be like, yeah, it's C tier. I can't call it garbage because I played it once, like as mentioned. Had I played it more, I'll probably have a more strong opinion about it, but please let me know in the comment section how you feel about this game, because I'm just leaving it like, eh. Shatter memories. Oh my goodness. Where do I begin? My Shayla. My Shayla. Shatter memory had no right for being a technically Wii exclusive game, because it was built around that. And it did the karma system, choices matter system better than Homecoming Downpour, because it wasn't a big glowing button saying do thing or not do thing. And it kind of had that. And it had real psych evaluation in there. And if you're watching this, if you're from my mouth watching video, I referenced the bull test to this. It's so good. That's probably my favorite psych test about it, everything in this game. And the twist at the end where you're Heather, coping with the loss of Harry from the first game, because this is a reimagining of the first game. You play as Mason, and you wake up in Silent Hill after you swerve on an icy road and you crash, and you're trying to relive your memories and all this other stuff, which is a really cool play on the words, because as mentioned, he's secretly dead the whole time. That's the twist at the end. No matter what ending you get, Harry is dead. And it's really cool with that twist. He's replaying all the memories back. He's trying to get back to Heather at the end of the lighthouse / therapy room, because he's about to tell her to let her go. It's all in her head. And he's replaying the memories before his crash, which is usually what happened with head trauma. It replays all your memories, especially in death. So I think that's a really cool, interesting detail they did. Even the little things you do, like you can stare at all the female characters for too long, and then you get like the sleazeball ending, because Cheryl there's like a VHS thematics to like home movies, and I think there's an ending where I don't want to say some out-of-pocket shit that doesn't happen, but I could be misremembering this, but I'm pretty sure she sees, or is alluded to, that she sees a sex tape of her mom and her dad, Mason, or it could be just he cheated because there's like an infidelity thing, because in Heather's mind, her mom, which was in this game, was I can't think of her name at the moment, but the main antagonist in 1 and 3. I think she's the mom, which she is in real life. She is the mom of the original Cheryl, because a whole lot of voodoo stuff happened, but just follow me. So it makes sense, but her mom was always like a lazy, skeezy, like, yeah, I'm just down for whatever. And every time a memory gets played the way it happened, it would freeze, and then Mason would have to leave. All the memories, and they keep getting frozen. Oh man, I just gotta stop on the story, because I'm just gonna sit here and rattle and yap about the whole entirety of Silent Hill Shatter Memories. I gotta cut it out. I gotta cut a lot of that out. Oh man, I just have to cut it. But gameplay wise, it's really fun. I, for one, don't like the chasing horror scene, like the Outlast gameplay of like run and hide. That gives me too much anxiety. I'm good on that. The gameplay is fine. I liked it a lot. It's a really good game. It's really, really great game, honestly, gameplay wise too. Like, it's just fun. Like the camera mechanic, the running, the game of tag of Doom, just is really fun. And the music, I'm about to lie. Like I say, I don't remember the music that well, but there's one ending. I think when you get like the quote unquote true ending, it's not, you don't have to play it multiple times, but like I feel like the fandom agrees the ending she gets of like, yeah, he dies, she made peace with it, she moves on. I want to say that song that plays, unless it's all of them, yeah, that one track carries the whole soundtrack. I don't remember the rest of them, but yeah, that's enough to put an S tier for me. And we're at the final game, a game that never came out, PT. Now, before I rank PT, disclaimer, I didn't put the letter, I think it's called, the new, or I forget what you even call it. I haven't played it yet, I keep putting it off. From what I've heard from friends who played it, it sounds like it's a nice B tier game. Not hating, just I'm going off what other people say. Again, comment section, let me know what you would put it. But I forgot it, and I just haven't played it, so I feel weird ranking game I haven't played. Now, PT, I played PT to death, and let me tell you something about PT. Fear alone gameplay, yeah, that's an S tier. S tier, 100%. Story, what it was setting up, S tier. Music, lackluster, doesn't have a soundtrack, it's a demo. So since technically it doesn't have any music elements to it, it's A tier. But damn, it's high A tier. Like if somebody snuck you in the S tier, I'm not gonna bat an eye. That's how high of an A tier is. But just to be fair to the criteria I said, going off of music, gameplay, and story, it has to be A, because there's really no music to it. but oh my goodness, the gameplay is so good. The fear of that lady chasing you in that hallway for eternity because you're a sick man and you're Norman Reedus, I think? Because they scrapped all this and made Death Stranding. So yeah, you're Norman Reedus for some reason. He would have been the protagonist in Silent Hill, which is like, what could have been? Oh my God. This universe out there was PT was fully released. Oh, we live in the worst timeline. Just, oh, it's so good. It's so scary. The talking aborted baby, because when you killed, okay, in case somebody hears this out of pocket, I'm talking about a video game. When you find the baby, you like, cause your wife you killed in the game, the story, she was pregnant, so you'd see a talking fetus in the sink. It's so fucked. It's so fucked in such a great way. And then when the lights go out and all the pictures become moving eyeballs, which if you don't know, I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of analog YouTuber horror stories do the eyeball thing, was the realistic moving eyes. I think they got it from this because it looks the same, at least to me. It's, oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so good, it's so good, it's so good. Oh, I miss it. I miss this game. This is gaming's unironically biggest what if. PT full release, it's up there with the Sony Nintendo console. It's like, what timeline is that? Is that the timeline where they had the cure to cancer? Is that the timeline where we all have just disposable income? It's so good. It's so good. The jump scares, immaculate. And then all the little hidden Easter eggs, like you gotta say the man's name in the PS4 controller mic just to get it going. PT hurts, right? Because now I'm done talking about the game and I'm just wrapping it up now. PT hurts Silent Hill fans the most because a friendly rivalry, right, between Resident Evil fans or other horror fans were like, oh, well, our games is way scarier, or our games is way better telling a story, which it is, you know, just to start shit. It's so good, right? And PT would have been, you're not beating PT. If had PT came out the same energy the demo was, I'm sorry, no horror franchise could even hold a candle to Silent Hill if PT came out the way it did. You know your teaser's great when PlayStation 4s who never updated are selling for like $700, $900 on eBay and PlayStation. I want to do a video on PT, but that don't exist because it was a limited demo. Like it was scraped from the network. It was the perfect demo for everything. Oh, and then Konami does a Konami and just ruined it all. Oh man, the biggest what if. It really hurts. But that is my list. If you made it this far, I'm so glad you did. I'm sorry for the lack of uploads the last 2 weeks. It's been a rough life. I'm just gonna be open real quick. I'm not like upset or hurt none, but it's been hard doing shit, if I can be vulnerable. It's just kind of shitty, and that's not fair to you guys, you know what I mean? I want to try to keep my maintained schedule at least one video every other 4 or 5 days and not take these breaks. I guess you could say I'm going through my Silent Hill right now, but I'm fine. It's like Downpour and Homecoming Silent Hill levels. I'm fine. I could beat that, no problem. It's not PT. If I was going through PT Silent Hill, you would not hear from me ever again. I'm cooked. But thank you so much for sticking around. So it means a lot. It really do. I am so sorry for this. If 10 people see this, if 1 person see this, if 100 people see it or whatever, I appreciate you for stopping by. You the best. We homies for life. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. With all that being said, I see you next time. Hopefully sooner than this. Peace.